Welcome to episode 9 of the NerdShredz Podcast. Today I'm joined with BelAir, the StarCraft 2 caster, streamer. So, let you dive in, guys. Enjoy. Okay, guys, I'm joined here with Mario, or BelAir. Probably most of you'll know him as that. So, first of all, BelAir, thanks for being on the show. I appreciate you taking your time out to be on.
Thanks for having me. Hi, guys.
So, how about you start by just telling people, who you are and what you do?
Wait, they don't know?
Nah, exactly,
come
man.
on.
I know.
All right. For a small introduction, I'm living in Germany. I'm a 30-year-one old. I don't know. My English just got missing right there.
We'll say 31, right?
Yeah, 31. Like, put it that way. I was born in East Germany. I'm one of those old farts being born behind a wall, and I'm a quite good StarCraft 2 streamer for the last 3 years now, getting right into the real business right now, and I enjoy gaming since I ever saw Street Fighter. I did
Street Fighter? Okay. Is that the first?
That was my very first game. Like in a basement on a party where my parents just went, and there was that kid from the other parents, and he had Street Fighter in the cellar. And I was doing the special tactic where I just hit every button, and I won for the next 3 hours.
Oh man, that's legit strategies. Can't be. That's all I ever did when it came to Street Fighter platforms.
Dale, it's really nice to be here. It's actually my first podcast for like years.
Ah, cool, man. It's good to have you on, man. So let's take you back to baby BelAir. You're sitting playing games. So you were saying Street Fighter is your first game. So what games took after that, and how did you sort of end up, playing StarCraft, casting StarCraft, and streaming?
Oh, that is a whoa! Take a seat, stay a while, and listen.
Yes.
So Street Fighter was just kind of that game that was like randomly appearing. I was growing up with all these Windows 95 games like Solitaire and having pinball later on. That was probably my only gaming until I was like 12 years old, and out of the sudden there was someone who was together with my mother, and we got home to him once, and he had Command and Conquer.
Oh, Command and Conquer.
And the thing was, my mom was chatting with him, and I was just sitting there and playing this game for hours and hours and hours. Actually, I never did beat it. I always got caught in Greek or someone. I was playing GDI a lot, but man, I really sucked on that later stages, but it was really nice. It was something like I could easily get attached to. It was nice to see how it all came together, and it was kind of forcing you to do stuff in a good manner. You have to plan what you're wanting to do, and man, I don't know if that was the first point, but somehow that determined that I'm into RTS, and then how did I become a streamer? Oh man, there's so much to tell actually.
Well, to be fair, it's good. A lot of people quite like to know, breaking into like an industry seems to be quite difficult. It's not like an easy thing to do. So people are often like, so how did you do it? How did you become a pro gamer? How did you become a streamer? That's like the question people like to ask,
I feel like the most people in the industry just get like by accident get into there, like start their stream, and all of a sudden 10 people are watching, and they just wanted to show it to their friends because they cannot join your later games or stuff.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden there's random people watching. For me,
so did you play like Brood War and stuff before you played like StarCraft?
No, StarCraft 2 was my first real,
okay.
Contact with not really with esports. I played Trackmania a lot.
Trackmania, cool.
Yeah. Was actually almost good enough to get into N faculty, but out of a sudden I stopped playing for some reason I cannot remember.
Okay.
How did I get into StarCraft 2? I was always a Warcraft 3 fan back then when ESL had these small free streams on their website when there was EPS and Until Friday Night Games and stuff like that. It was pretty well known in Germany. And all of a sudden there was like, hey, Warcraft 3 is about to stop. And I was like, what? You cannot stop this game from going on. No ESL Pro Series on that game? But then I realized, wait, there's some kind of game that looks cool in a future setup. It's called StarCraft 2. Man, I have to play that. And so I did, but just campaign and stuff like that. But I watched all those ESL content, the early stages with Go for StarCraft 2 during beta and stuff.
Yeah.
I got hooked to it pretty badly. And there was a certain point where it was just thinking about, okay, I need more content about this. This is like, I cannot
It's
just
not enough.
Yeah, it's not enough. And I got onto YouTube and was searching for like German content. And the ones that I found, I didn't like them. And the others I found were so bad that I thought, dude, you can do that better. You can simply do that better. And that kind of motivated me. And so I started shouting around in forums, hey guys, send me, because I was too shitty player myself, to be honest. but you know, I watched, in my opinion, I watched enough casting to actually manage to do that myself. So I was shouting in the Blizzard forums, hey guys, send me your replays. I recast them for YouTube. Just follow my channel and all will be good. And it was really didn't expect that to happen, but there were people responding and they were happy to see their games casted online. And that was basically how I met the team that really got me into esports, because once I casted a game from the Dead Generation Tron, that was his name, and he was beating up a guy named CPU, which is quite funny if you compare Tron with the CPU. So and he was like, dude, nice video, very nice cast, but we have to talk. Come into my TeamSpeak. Yeah. When Discord didn't exist.
TeamSpeak, obviously, yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh shit, what did I do wrong? Because I didn't know that he's the clan leader of that team. And I was like, dude, nice cast, but you fucked up our name. And I was like, what? What did I do? Just write TDG in capital letters, please. It's fine. I was like, always getting a heart attack or something. I thought like I messed up purely, and I don't know. And so things got going. I joined the team.
Cool.
It was full of semi-professionals, German players, but very dedicated to the game. Yeah, started casting Clan Wars, and so came one thing to another. Since I was still in the military, I couldn't cast as much as I wanted. It's like something, you're away from home, you're in your barracks, you're basically a Marine all week, just to get home to have the real deal. And cast like 4 hours a week is not really something you can grow your business on. But I liked it.
Yeah, that's cool. So are you full-time casting just now, or are you still working outside of that, or?
Kind of a funny question. I have my own business.
Oh, cool.
But I cannot live on it right now. It's but I still get money from the German armed forces because I was serving for 8 years. It's kind of you dropped out of our service in a good manner. We have some money to compensate your walk over into private economics, and that is what I'm actually taking advantage of until
you become a professional caster and you don't need it anymore.
Until the middle of the year, because then this support is actually like stopped.
Okay.
So
that's okay. You just have to become pro before that happens. It's okay.
Yeah. That's like
you've got a time limit. That's it.
Yeah. I'm forcing a lot, but recently I've been rethinking some stuff, and it is like it is. But it's fun. It's really nice because when you had a certain amount of people watching and actually liking your content, what I did never expect. I was always saying, like, you can be the most stupid dude on earth. You always find like 10 people to follow you and like your stuff.
That's basically my stream you're describing there, bro.
Oh, come on. Don't like to pester yourself. You're not the Italian chef. The thing is, I got attached to my community, and like sometimes I do stuff that I don't think is really worth watching, but I love it. And throughout this attachment, even on bad days, I start streaming and it's all fine.
Yeah,
It's
I
like
get that.
coming home.
So tell us a little bit more about the different tournaments that you have casted. So like take us through like some of the like your most exciting games or potentially best players that you've casted over the years.
So yeah, over the years, it's hard to determine actually because we had a lot of different patches in StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
It's basically were 3 different games, and with Legacy of the Void, everything changes.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It did change. 12 Worker Start and stuff like that is still giving a lot of thinking into the scene because people think like, hey, what is the outcome? They go like in depth and actually try to emphasize what is really better for the game, and it's so best players. It's really hard to determine. I mean, I casted IEM 1 week ago.
Yeah, that's right.
I know, and Intellect Masters Katowice 2020 and the last year as well. And that is the best content you can ever get.
Yeah.
It is like to be in that lobby directly and to interact with the players and actually having a name in the lobbies helps a lot. But it's really fun. You know what? There was this one tournament. I feel like Zerg TV organized that. It was a 2v2 tournament.
Okay, that's unusual.
Europe versus Korea.
Oh, okay.
And I think the European team was like Thermal and Elaser together, and they played MC and TY.
Oh, that's cool.
And if I was like, dude, I started crying on stream when MC and TY joined the lobby. I couldn't hold it.
Oh, that is really cool.
There's still a cripple on. I was just like, all of a sudden you realize, oh my god, this is happening. This is. I mean, I was at Home Story Cup where Minchul sang the goodbye song for MMA. It was, I guess, and at Home Story Cup 20, I was sitting together with Selva and Showtime on the breakfast, and we did kind of make a little fun of Nice because he wasn't able to whistle. It was, yeah. But that is. There's so many small pictures that just come up in my head where I really think like, wow, this is so nice to be in a front row seat on this particular game on this
tournament is something special. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, it's a special moment for me was like it's sadly still my all-time high on viewership on my channel. Aces Rock back then in 2015 or 16.
Yes, back
like
in
not the last assembly, summer 2019. It was really back then. I remember Baby Night playing Hazu Ops. And that was a game on Yazoo LE. I will never forget that game. That was really the thing was like the English mainstream cut off. And out of the sudden, I hit 800 viewers almost.
Because everyone jumped over it. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that was really cool. And that was it was a PvP. And Hazu Ups was so far behind because I don't even know what strategy did go on there. I think his enemy had earlier blinks, so more mobility on the same units he got. And somehow, in a 30-minute game, he turned around everything. It was like all the time. You watch that game, I was like, he's dead. He's dead now. No, he's not dead. Oh, come on. And he did fight on, and I was standing while casting that on the last minutes. It was
incredible.
if you really like, for me as a caster, I get attached to the players a lot because I mean I'm almost every time there's an underdog or there's someone not as strong as the other or it's a bad matchup. I like those mystery moments where stuff happens that you don't expect. For example, last ESL and A Cup, ESL Pro Tour, Liquid Teal is a good player, but he was not known for beating special 2-0.
Like top tiers, yeah.
Yeah, Special is known as one of the best
Yeah,
foreign Terrans.
Terran Beast. Yeah, this
Yeah.
thing I actually do watch quite a lot, but I'm the same as you might. Well, I don't know how good of a player you are. Like my playabilities to be probably slightly above average, and that's it. But I absolutely love watching like GSL, ESL. So like, yeah, I'm pretty sure most players you reference. But yeah, so Special Terran Beast. Continue.
Yeah, and TLO beat him 2-0, like out of a sudden. He
Yeah.
he did beat Mana before that. The best Polish Protoss. I don't
Yeah.
know if there's anyone else. He managed to do that with him as well, and then he played a phenomenal grand final. Actually lost to your Thermal 3-2, but hey, that was
One of the best ones
the
you
last.
casted.
Yeah, that was the last point where I was really astonished by the games and by the players.
Mm-hmm.
Like that is happening like once a cup usually. I feel like it is nice, and even though the maps are the same, the matchups are the same, every game is different.
Yep.
And that just brings the thrill I love, and the people who are watching as well.
So what do you, just thinking about maybe the current state of StarCraft? Because I mean, it's definitely had like its ups and downs and like viewership and stuff, and obviously StarCraft 2 is still more popular over here than, you know, original StarCraft is still like more popular in Korea and things like that. Do you, I mean, for me especially, and I know for a lot of others, like Heart of the Swarm, I wouldn't say killed the game, but it definitely destroyed a lot of the viewership when it brought things
It didn't help really, because the meta was very stuck.
Mm-hmm.
The balance team wasn't handing out
hard patches to fix it.
No patch for like 1 year, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
And
so what do you think about the current state just now? Because I mean, for me, it's amazing to watch, but I feel like it almost doesn't have the viewership it deserves. It almost feels like.
That is the biggest point that bothers me as well, because the most people can just not think about how much work is behind those pro players, how much they get into this. My mom actually asked me like last year, "Hey, is this a whole group playing behind this? Are these 5 people controlling this? No, this is just one versus one." And she was like, "What? What are you telling me?" And the current state is really cool. Especially for the pros, because I mean, WCS, the World Championship Series, is kind of handed over to the ESL, which is known for cool events like name it. It's a cool event, and doing IEM, for example, and together with DreamHack, they just make sure for the next 3 years that the pro circus of StarCraft 2 is safe.
Yeah,
that's a good point for the players. That's a good point. I feel like for the other players as well, because there shall be patches. I hope it would be disgusting if they and so it's still time for people who are really good at this moment or getting really good at the moment to push further on and maybe trying to make a step further into the pro scene. Viewership wise, StarCraft 2 is this game which is viewed by a lot of more people than actually play it, because it's hard. Every other title has like a learning curve. StarCraft 2 has this wall.
Oh yeah,
and behind that wall there's a Protoss playing cannon rushes all day long, and behind that wall is another wall.
Mm-hmm.
So
to say it's a mountain is probably an understatement. I feel like most people pick up games. There's obviously a learning curve, but to compete at, say, even an average level, I think you can play for years and still be, fall short of what you expect, if that makes sense. But yeah, one thing that was quite good as well, sorry, just say quickly, was the fact that it seemed like players that were in StarCraft were just getting older and older, and no one was really, no one new was coming in. But then when coming across like Raynor, like was it maybe like a year ago, maybe more than that actually, when he first started coming in, like obviously the young Italian guy, and I was just like, this is great. You see someone that's young coming into the game, and not only, being able to be pro,
being really good.
Being really good. I'm just like, it's just the things like that will also keep like people, watching, because against, like you say, the underdog, you create a story behind them, and people are, come on, man, let's see you win, let's go. It's really good.
I had a long pause, like before I dropped out of my military service because I was not really doing much stuff. So I'm just going like this full-time modus I've been doing right now for like 2.5 years. And there was this French Terran that I casted in one of those Go for StarCraft 2 cups, and he was facing Guru, who is quite a good Zerg from Russian. Not the most well, not the finest player in terms of his chat messages, so to say, but a really good Zerg. And I still have this clip lying around where Clem just manages to nuke his Broodlords and Infestors and just straight up winning the game. I was a fan of that Frenchman back then, and he evolved even further.
And got stronger.
He is on a good day. He's on the same level end of buff of special of the Euthermal of all those European top
European players, yeah.
Yeah, and in the smaller tournaments I cast, there are people in GM in the Grandmaster League that are actually 12 or 13 years old. Like Ghosty StarCraft, for example. I think like he's 12. He's Protoss. He's playing top 80s from time to time.
That's
he's
just
like
incredible,
really,
man.
It is. There's so much potential, and Humarine just mentioned some stuff on stream which I really liked to point out here at this point. It's not impossible to be a pro gamer if you're older than 30, but it's harder. You have to put more effort into it.
Yeah.
And the younger you are, the easier it is to adapt to new stuff. And to see this new players evolve in that pro economy of StarCraft 2 it's beautiful. I like it.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was MC. I think it was an interview. It was ages ago, and again, he's obviously one of the older StarCraft players. And it was the same as him. He was sort of like, people were saying, you're like one of the oldest people competing. You're still able to destroy people, a good bit younger. Do you not believe in the fact that, your reaction times are slower potentially? And he was the same thing. He said, like, you sort of have to put in more work. And he also is like, as you get older, your like responsibilities and stuff change. When you're like 17, all you care about is this game you're playing. And it almost becomes effortless when you're that age. But when you're older, he's like, I just put in more time thinking about the game to stay good, sort of thing. And that was sort of like a bit of an eye-opener, because a lot of people you would see like retire at like 24 and they're like, I'm too old. I'm like, how can you be too old at 24? It just baffles me.
Yeah, it's really hard to tell sometimes. I mean, Vidra was quite old, but he was still kicking some people out of tournaments which you didn't expect, because he just did play some off-meta style, which is hard to train against. And if you don't train against certain styles very often, you just die. This is the reason why some Terrans go for mech and TVP and try to rush their opponent with strategies they've never seen before.
Yeah.
And I can tell you a secret. Sometimes it's working out. And
yeah,
I like this approach, actually. I feel like the older a player is, actually, the more like
wise.
How shall I put it? He's more thinking about tactics than actually executing them. It's more like playing proactive and thinking about or just knowing what is my opponent going to do. Because the younger players are, in my opinion, often like more aggressive. They're not playing like Showtime, like being defensive, waiting for you to make mistakes.
Huge macro games and always picking up on their mistakes. Yeah. And
this is something you can really get an advantage of, because you have the knowledge. You know a lot more about the game economics, and I don't really know how those pro players do it, but I feel like some of them are just calculating the resources lost step in their head by watching. Okay, I killed 2 Hellions, 1 Reaper. Okay, he's dead. I can just push over 2 Cyclones, stuff like that. And they do that in a split second. There have to be something in their head going on by a snap to determine what to do next. Because sometimes I see Reina with is so good micromanagement.
Yes, reaction times just unreal.
Yeah, but then he gets like caught off guard because Cyril got burrow tunneling claws and did put them in every mineral line, and he's winning the fight in the front, and at the same time, Reina is losing all his backline, all his economics, and
Yeah, you can
well,
fall back
next
to
push.
nothing.
Yeah,
Well, Sarah was another one that was quite interesting, and I'm sure it was like a post-match interview. Someone asked like how much he practiced, and he'd said something like it gets to a point where he doesn't need to play as much games as he used to. Like he basically spends so much time thinking about the game now, because he
yeah,
feels like there's a certain point where you hit a roof where you can keep playing the game over and over, but you're not going to get any better unless you think of a new strategy or a new way to do something. So he was basically saying that most of his time was spent like thinking about the game rather than playing 16 hours a day. I was just like,
yeah.
that's crazy.
And that's the biggest gap, in my opinion, that semi-professional GM players have to overcome to play a different kind of StarCraft, to play their own style, maybe to play a different style, to play something that is not too far in the meta. Because if you're playing meta, you have to execute it very well.
Yeah.
But on a certain point, if the enemy knows how to scout you, you can be an open book, and this is something you should be avoiding if you want to be a pro player. Like the best Protoss, for example, every build they use is looking the same, but they are playing 15 different timings. Like that is how Zest beat Cyril on the IEM semifinal. I mean, it might not have been the best day for Cyril, but he played like these Resonating Glaives adepts like all match long.
Yeah, he went 2 games up as well, didn't he?
Yeah, but with them with different follow-ups. Immortals, another Stargate, charged it all in, whatever. He had the same opening almost every time, but you do not see what's behind the first slap. You don't know if it's a punch into the face or it's a kick in the nuts.
Yeah, exactly.
And somehow he made it. So
yeah, it's all about like the little, keeping those little details hidden. I mean, that's all what RTSs are about, isn't it? It's just like try to keep everything hidden and try to see what your opponent's doing at the same time.
Yeah. We got to this because you asked about the current state of StarCraft 2.
Yeah, sorry.
Would like no, I would like to
deviate a little bit there.
yeah, a little bit, but well, good talk. There is something about the community which is just magical. The people that are into StarCraft 2, they're like super into StarCraft 2. There's those people, they're either not interested or they're going full nuts on this game.
Yeah.
Like it doesn't
Extremes.
even need to be like playing himself, but there was this guy who was watching Intel Extreme Masters on my stream, and he was usually a big fan of the Berlin International Gaming Team. They signed Showtime. He wanted to watch that on my channel. And yesterday he wrote like, dude, your course is so phenomenal. I just want to learn StarCraft right now. Do you have any tips?
Yes, that's so cool.
That is there's just some cool points in this, and I feel like the StarCraft 2 community knows that it's not the biggest. So we are thankful for everybody who is actually trying the game and not being salty on ladder just because he lost, and trying to evolve into this. It's nice to see that, and since most of the people are a little bit older than Fortnite community, for example, it's a different part for the streaming.
Oh yeah.
My mods are jobless most of the times. Like I ban 2 people a year. That's what I'm feeling like. But the people are very calm. At least on my German stream.
Well, I think like StarCraft in general, I think is one of the best communities. I mean, I can't say I've been a part of loads of different gaming communities, but from even Brood War days to being on old school forums asking, how do you do this build? How do you do this? Like people will always share open, and just even sharing replays and stuff. Like you don't get people shitting on you and saying this is ridiculous, this is really bad, this is what you're doing. It's just, this is what you should do to improve. Like, don't get me wrong, I'm sure when you ladder, you still get people that are bad-mannered and stuff, but when you compare it to games like, I'm going to bash on League of Legends and HOTS or any team game like that, because you can turn around and point a finger at somebody and say, this isn't my fault, you should have been doing your job. Because you can do that, I feel like the toxicity just goes up through the roof sometimes, So when I'm playing these games, I'll just have to mute like all chat just because I can't handle it,
It,
because it's just so toxic. But when you compare it to that, it makes you grateful for the StarCraft community, you know?
the thing is, whoever plays 1v1, and there are different types of playing where you have team games with your mates and stuff like that. People who get told that they did a mistake, they usually don't change their way of play on different games. They're searching for other guys responsible for them. StarCraft 2 players do that as well. They like to swear about balance and give it away to Blizzard.
If you play a 1v1 and you get beat, it can't be you. It has to be the fact you're playing the wrong race, you know?
Yeah. Oh. But the fun fact is, every race is is shit talking about the other races. So I call that balance, you know.
Yes, exactly.
And another thing I would like to mention is just like with having told that Showtime got signed by Big Gaming, like a team that is known for Counter-Strike.
Oh, okay.
And they signed Showtime, the best Pro Toss out of Germany. He was teamless for since the start of the year, and this is something I really like. New teams, new firms, so to say, new companies take an interest into StarCraft 2. They are putting money on the line, and the next big thing I would like to address here, which I'm a quite big part of, is Raise Your Edge Gaming. They signed Bly, the best Ukrainian Zerg. They signed PT Drogo, one of the best French Protoss, so to say, and one of the best Protoss among Europe. And they signed Zest, and I don't have to tell you who that is.
Wow, that's incredible. I didn't actually realize that this movement was happening.
Yeah, and that was just the second step. The first step they did was whoever, for everybody who doesn't know Raise Your Edge in general, it's basically a poker school. We have a big YouTube channel telling you how to poker. Todd used that for getting actually good at poker. If you follow him on Twitter, you know that guy is rich as hell and having a good. And they have this esports department. It's really completely different company, so we don't have problems with Blizzard saying like, hey, this is gambling or stuff like that. We don't want it. Which is quite nice, because I was really afraid of that. The manager who was taking care of that streamer team they just wanted to have was like, okay, we would like to invest into esports, but we don't want toxic communities, and we want communities which are strong. And the cool part is here, they decided for StarCraft 2.
Yeah.
And they decided to host tournaments. Like, not that frequent, but putting on 1,200 euros for a pro tournament is quite a deal.
Yeah, that's good.
And with basically coming new into this, it was astonishing. And I have the honor to host those tournaments, to cast this, basically to do everything except Wikipedia for that. But it's so nice to be involved into this. And that was part one, and then I was just mind blown when they started signing those players. I was out of my mind, actually. It's so nice to see this.
It means that like these new investments and these companies coming in and you know, like you say, putting money into the esport. It's just, I don't know. It feels like it's like fresh blood, you know, like it's trying to rejuvenate it a little bit. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see. I had no idea that that was going on. So that's really cool, man.
Yeah, good thing you have me on a podcast. Well, I don't have the biggest reach among all the English native speakers, so I was quite aware of that. But well, we're slightly getting into it.
Do you get to repost the casts on your stream?
No. We have a big YouTube. Well, the VODs are available on Twitch.
Okay,
and we have a YouTube channel for that, for the specifically for the last SC2 Royal tournament. And people can look it up. And the cast is in English. My English is not the best, but I tried very hard.
That's cool. I mean, I think if I can understand you, you know, this this poor guy from Scotland can understand you. I'm pretty sure anyone can. So, but yeah, like I mean, watching GSL and ESL takes up probably. I mean, it's the only I do watch bits and bobs of League of Legends sometimes, but most of the time it's like StarCraft stuff. So like once I've ran out of GSL and ESL to watch, you know, I'm sort of done. Like you were saying, sort of the start of the stream that there's only so much StarCraft. Eventually it runs out. So these like smaller tournaments are always good to pick up once you've run out of things to watch, you know.
Yeah. The thing is, what I did like last Sunday, and I'm still not back to the normal sleep rhythm. I did something that I would call a triple. I casted all ESL Pro Tour tournaments, and in the meantime I filled with 2 smaller events, OC Masters and the Passioncraft Showdown, which is like $100 for the first one I mentioned, and $50 for the second one. It's just a smaller tournament, so I did like 21 hours of casting
non-stop. Wow.
Yeah, but I had so much fun. The people are going crazy, and it is.
Are you solo casting all those games?
I'm solo casting, yes.
Wow, that's crazy, man.
It's hard to get a decent co-caster, to be honest, because my style of cast is something that's not really good for everybody, I feel like, and I hate to be like being forced to take the speed out of the cast.
Yeah, I see what you mean.
It's something I don't know if anybody can relate to that, but it's just feeling like
it's one of the reasons I like watching Tasteosis so much. And again, I probably reference them like every second stream, I think.
They synergize so much.
It's brilliant how they can just like, if you actually pay attention to not what they're saying, but just when they swap out to okay, like I'm going to be commentating. Person. Yeah, like I'm going to commentate the battle. And as soon as it swaps, like there's no like they both speak at the same time and go, oh, like it's literally like so in sync. And then even during like dead times of the stream, say like one of the streamers has an issue, or even if it's the very start when they're just building up, like apart from like talking strategy about like previous or the next game, they just chat about so much random stuff that is like so entertaining. They'll be talking about like comic books, films, like whatever, just stuff like this. And I don't know, like I can literally just listen to them. Like sometimes I'll be working and just have them on in the background, and I don't even know what's happening in the game, but it's so funny.
It's StarCraft 2 ASMR.
Yes, that's right.
In fact, I know people who are tuning into my late night streams to get into bed. It's not like I'm doing a bad job as a caster.
You put them to sleep.
It's just like, it can be very it keeps you calm when you hear a couple of Marines dying to some Banelings. For some people, man. That's just the feels.
Yeah, falling asleep to StarCraft, man. That's the dream. Like I used to listen to like quite fast-paced music when I streamed, but now it's the same. I'll listen to like chill step stuff. It's the same. There seems to be more people come in, but like less people talking. And when people mention it, it's always like, I'm just gonna put your stream on to fall asleep to. I'm like, I don't know if that's a compliment or,
A view is a view.
Yeah, exactly. absolute view whore. Yeah, absolutely. It doesn't matter.
By the way, I was doing a song request on my stream for like 3 years, and for a couple of times when there's really good content, I'm telling the people no song request today. I'm sorry. I just will play some basic music, usually some future funk, which I got into like a couple of weeks ago.
Okay,
and
cool.
I purely love it. I can recommend very calm, smooth, and kind of resting for your ears.
Yeah.
But there's a playlist on YouTube with 600 different songs that people requested across the last years. Then there's everything in it.
Oh, that's cool.
Sometimes it's just nice to go back to that playlist on stream because
just see what people requested.
There's always something attached to this music. This song reminds me of something usually. It's a nice feature to the stream. Sound is really important in my opinion, by the way. For everybody who starts streaming, make sure your sound is on point and you don't have the worst Fisher-Price microphone.
Echo crackly mic. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So what about sorry to interrupt you. What were you saying there? Sorry.
No, I was finished. I was just like
that's the one. It's the one downside to like doing these podcasts over Discord. I feel like I've never done one in person. because I live in the middle of nowhere. I live up in North Scotland. So whenever you actually, if I ever get the opportunity to do one in person, if you physically look at somebody, it's so much easier to like, okay, he's finished talking. But it's like in this, it's like, is he disconnected? Is he finished? Don't know. Okay, I'll talk. It's so different. So
that's
apologies.
the same with duo casting via Discord, because you have this slight delay, and half of the cast, if you're not really doing that very often or have a really good synergy with your co-cast, it's more like, oh, no, you cast the fight.
Oh, no, you go, and then the fight's over.
Never mind. Fight's over. Okay, let me analyze. No, I did that already. Wait, did I disconnect? And this is the worst part. If you're hosting a stream and you're supposed to have a co-cast and you're talking like a sentence, you need a response. You're like, oh man, Grant, does he have a chance to come back after this?
Mm-hmm.
Crickets.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's important to get a vibe. Otherwise, it's the same with like, that's why I was so amazed why like Testosis and others can like keep streams that were like, yeah, probably more during like Heart of Swarm, when it was like you get some really long drawn out games and there'd be nothing happening. They've literally said everything you possibly can, and yet they would still find a way to fill like dead space. I'd be like, man, how could you talk about like nothing for that long? Like, I don't know. I just, in my head, I know I would struggle with that. So I'm like, how do you do that?
It is something that is me helping a lot. I always call it something like my brain is connected in different ways that it should be. I get from talking about a gaming mouse to talking about economics and general religion stuff. I don't know. I get from A to Y, get back to B, and start commenting the game again. And that is kind of helping me to not be like, I personally feel like I'm not that guy who's repeating the same sentence all over.
Mm-hmm.
Which is very good. I feel like otherwise the people are going to
just
shut down
bored,
and sleep even faster.
Well, it's definitely like, I think there's a few topics, especially when I stream, I always try to avoid, and it's like politics, religion, and like, well, for I don't know what it is. It must just be just now, but there's so many like other big streamers, but I'll actually just watch their stream, and the amount of times I'll go on and the stream chat are talking about coronavirus. Like, it seems to be like obviously because it is big news, but literally everyone seems to be chatting about it. So it goes from being dead quiet to chatting about something that is so in depth that the chat is never going to end.
Yeah, sometimes I'm just letting it go as long as it's not too hard and the people are not getting like private on each other, like telling no, you're wrong. We have to agree to differ is a very nice phrase I like to point out here. Just because you have different opinions, don't hate on each other. This is a serious problem in some Twitch chats.
Just the internet in general, I think. Yeah,
it is like I often say we should rely on what we love together, and that is StarCraft. So if you have a different topic to address on stream, all right, talk about it. But at a certain point, I always advise guys, please use your private chat. It's there for a reason, and because it's destroying the chat experience for the rest of the viewers probably. And in my opinion, the chat is the best thing on Twitch.
Oh, 100%, yeah. It is so like, entertaining, man.
Take the chat away. Take away those creative comments of some people. I mean. It doesn't matter if they make fun of the casters. Some players, like there's so many. There's so many to say about a game, or to ask the commentator, or to interact with the rest of the group, and just which is actually enhancing the broadcast I'm doing. Like, take that away, and it's just boring.
Yeah. So what about excuse me, what about like other games or other streamers? Do you actually consume any other content that's like, if you're not casting, if you're not streaming, that isn't StarCraft?
I'm consuming content, various esports, like Sometimes I watch Counter-Strike 99 Damage League or something
Oh,
like
that's
that,
cool.
or I'm just checking out Nomi again, who's lately got into teamfight tactics a lot, which I tried as well, but I sucked. But there are a lot of people where I'm like at least a little bit attached to, and like from time to time I tune into something else. StarCraft 2 is like the main thing. Sometimes I'm watching Todd and Grubby playing Warcraft, and just enjoying the level of play, and actually trying to love Warcraft 3 as a second game to maybe actually start something I could call a career. It's a nice game. I was nerding it back then, but I had a long pause. And hopefully Warcraft 3 Reforged will be a good game in a half a year. So
So how much did you... So you bought Warcraft 3 Reforged when it came out, yeah?
I pre-ordered it.
Okay, good man.
I couldn't resist. I'm too much of a Blizzard fan to not pre-order this.
So how much time did you put into it since it came out?
To be honest, like...
No lies.
Okay. Wait a second. I have this Twitch statistics website, which is exactly telling me how much effort I did put into that. And it is actually less than Minecraft. What the fuck? It was 30 hours.
Oh, okay. That's still a decent amount.
But that was mostly playing campaign and casting some replays.
Well, that was it. I think I was waiting to see how good it actually was, and that's all I would really do. I know people were annoyed at matchmaking what didn't come out properly and all this other stuff that they wanted, but I literally would have bought it to go back, play the campaign, but with the campaign looking nicer. That was literally, for me, that was enough nostalgia for me to buy the game. But I'm still gonna wait to see like what changes they make before I get it.
What a really bad point was for Warcraft 3, in my opinion, is they forced you to go over to the new section of the game, and the program is not on point. Warcraft 3, the basic version of the Frozen Throne was, and there was this game, Thorzane versus Moon, I guess.
Kendrick was telling me this,
and he was like thrown out of the game 3 times, and on the last game he lost. In the other games he was in front, but they had to completely rehost.
God's sake.
That is really harming esports.
It's so cringy to see stuff like that happen.
I hope they get rid of stuff like that. But another thing, and we already addressed it, is that coronavirus. And to be honest, I like the idea of the Polish government telling, okay, at IEM Katowice there will be no live audience. The people traveled there, but it's like people from around the world came there. They are those professional players. Like, esport is connecting the world.
Oh, it's their livelihood. Yeah, definitely.
Like, if you really spread it around like this on such an event, it's not like a local event where you have your football club playing or stuff. It would spread to everywhere, even to Greenland or something.
Well, that's the thing. I saw like a few things like TwitchCon, and there was a few in Comic Con. There's a few of them have announced like if they continue going the way they're going, they're going to be cancelled. It is soul destroying to hear like things like that happen, but you honestly can't really take the risk of something like this spreading without like a vaccine being out.
It's just too much, because the typical human doesn't have resistance against it, and that is what's making it so difficult to deal with it. And the good thing is, as long as the internet is running, I can imagine to have those planned offline events to actually take part online and still to be very
good. Games, man. That's it. As long as you can play games, all's good. It's good. Yeah. But yeah, it was funny. There was something trending on Twitter. Was it yesterday, the day before? It was really funny. It was like, because the stock market was like crashing because obviously the knock-on effects from coronavirus, and it was something like, I can't remember what the hashtag was exactly, but it was things that like stocks and shares that shouldn't be crashing due to coronavirus, and it was things like Netflix, because if you're quarantined in your bedroom, that's all you'd watch, and it was like Blizzard stock shares and stuff like that.
I should have invested into Amazon and Netflix.
It was all this stuff, but I mean, but like obviously they are still crashing as well, and toilet paper, obviously. I know, Man.
Why are people like? Sorry if that is totally off topic, but why are people now hoarding toilet paper?
I don't know.
Ain't they using that shit all day anyways? I mean,
it is one of the biggest memes, I think, because it's like the virus doesn't like make you shit anymore. So it's like, why are you why are you stocking up on toilet paper? It's I don't know. There's a lot of like baffling things that's came out of this, but yeah.
I'm waiting for the first esports tournament to not send out a prize pool, instead giving like
Just give
10
out
rolls
toilet
of
roll.
toilet paper and something to disinfect.
That's it. At the end of like, when a champion wins or something, instead of like confetti or ripped up toilet paper, it'll just be £100 notes. They're cheaper. Just chuck them instead, man. But yeah.
It's actually not so fun topic. So, and I'm apologizing for everybody. Just like,
Oh yeah.
hey, what are those guys talking about? But we cannot change it directly. And one day I made a choice for myself. Problems I cannot address and change myself. I'm sorry, I don't care.
It's one of those things. It literally is going to be around for a lot longer, I think, than people think. But it does suck when you see these huge events like
It's really sad
to see them go down. But I mean, it could be a couple of years at least until, I mean, the vaccine they were saying the earliest would be like the end of this year before it's actually put out into the public correctly, because of all the testing and stuff it's got to go through. It's like, yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah, I kind of feel bad for those American people who have to pay like $3,000 to just get tested if they have the virus.
Yeah, that's horrendous, man. Mr. Trump in denial and all that.
Yeah, but we are getting a lot of into politics right now.
Let's just jump out. But so talking about like old games,
but
like
esports is a political question sometimes, right? Isn't it?
oh yeah, definitely. Well, I mean,
Like,
even
on player visa and stuff like that, and
well, when they started showing what was it? I think it was it League of Legends? I think it was the first game they showed on UK television over here, and it was like last year. I think they showed the grand final on like government TV, and people were like, yeah, and like basically like I remember everybody like parents and stuff that were like in their 50s and 60s, they'd be like, this is ridiculous, a professional video game on television. I'm like, what do you mean it's ridiculous? The rest of the world have been doing it for the last 15, 20 years. Like, this is, we're slow, I feel like saying, like, they're saying like, and it was just, they just could not understand. Then as soon as you explain that, like, everybody that's sitting down there and playing those games is going to make more than our family combined, and they're like, just like, what? I'm like, yeah, they're multi-millionaires, and they're like, for just sitting around playing a video game, and you're like, it's no different from like Ronaldo playing football, but they just, they just don't get. They just can't grasp the difference, It's just the time they've been brought up, I guess.
Yeah, it's really something that is about to change the next 10 years. In Germany, it's far worse because, for example, the elected politicians in force right now.
I thought we were going away from politics. I'm joking.
Yeah, but the thing is, in Germany, for example, we have the German Olympic sports
okay.
stuff thing, and they are denying the esports.
I'll be part of it. Oh man, that sucks.
Yeah, and that means that usually pro players coming to Germany having problems getting an athletic visa or stuff like that, or just to take part in tournaments right here. It's a huge thing, and we have this grassroots environment right now where we are establishing local clubs similar to football, for example, where you want to give a helping hand to people who just play for fun or people who want to be better in their specific esports. The problem is that all those local clubs, they are not getting any help, but they're still working with younger people and even doing prevention of being addicted to games too much until it harms your own life. But the government is still in this position, telling no, you're not doing it in our specific term because of that label is missing.
Yeah.
That esports is the same as sports, and that is really harming a couple of events, a couple of growth potential, which is just not there.
Yeah, I mean, I totally, I think it is just sort of like an age thing, but there was an interesting statistic. I think I was talking to Kendrick about this, and it was
Mhm.
in the States that there's now more people. Was it? I can't remember what it was. It was like under the age of 16 that play, or sorry, under the age of 16 that watch esports events. They was it compared to, I think it was baseball, basketball, and American football combined.
Mhm.
So like obviously in my head I'm thinking like these people are going to grow up. They're not going to suddenly change to watch other sports. So you know they're watching more than all three combined. That's going to blow up in like the next like 10 years, you know. And it's already pretty big, so it's just a matter of time in my head it seems like, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, there's no problem with baseball and or stuff like that. Name a sports. There's no problem within the sports, but it's the same with a couple of esport titles.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder to get into esports than into real sports, to be honest.
There's no like, I mean, I think the States is quite good in the fact they have these programs where you can, you know, come through universities. I think you can still get scholarships and stuff, but it does seem like, I mean, from the UK perspective, there's no way you can get into like, some teams will pick you up. I think like for FIFA and stuff, football teams will pick you up and they can train you up to be a professional FIFA player and things. But if I just decided that I'm 16, I'm really good at League of Legends, I want to go pro, I mean, I can ladder till I'm really high, but unless a team sees me, I mean, unless you're physically the top of the top and you stand out by doing something, it's so difficult to get spotted, I think.
That is really a big problem because there is no real connection between the let's call it the semi-pro level
Mm-hmm.
to the real high level where you have to compete with the best of the world.
Mm-hmm.
And there's such a big jump to do, which is
I think people underestimate the jump between, so for StarCraft, like Grandmaster to pro. Like people think it's like just a little step from
if you're Grandmaster, you're pro anyways, Copper.
yeah, pretty much.
It's really hard because in Germany, for example, if you don't get like if you don't have a decent income or people that are supporting you, I mean, a StarCraft 2 player needs his 6 hours of play a day, or at least 4 just to stick in shape. And on top of that, you have to look out for new builds. You have to train your weakest strategy, stuff like that. You cannot do that on a regular basis when you're still working, and especially in Europe, the cost for your flat and stuff like that is very expensive. So
yeah.
You are forced to work outside of that.
Must be so hard to maintain.
There are some countries where it might be a little easier because stuff is not like that super expensive. I can imagine that BelAir has it a little bit easier to live in the Ukraine if he's winning a couple of $100 tournaments. But that makes it even harder to go into onto the next level. And what we're actually trying to accomplish with those local clubs like Bremen Esports, Magdeburg Esports, and Call a City, and there might be a local club around esports in the near future. We have like 40 of those in Germany, so it's not that little. But we are trying to establish this this background that the Olympic Committee in Germany is actually saying you don't have this, you don't have the structure, you don't have local clubs,
these things,
and you don't have the members we need to see before you can call you actually a sport.
A sport, yeah.
And by having this local clubs and supporting those, like everybody who's asking for a team in StarCraft 2 in the main channel, I'm at the moment saying, hey, have you considered joining a local community club for StarCraft 2, even if there is no StarCraft yet?
Yeah.
I like attaching those people more to their city. You can play for Team Blazing Sirens if you like that. But it's so much cooler to play for your hometown.
Yeah, I know. I totally get that, man.
And hopefully in a few years we are on that point where they cannot deny that anymore. We might draw some additional money out of those budgets which is there
for just sports in general. Yeah.
Yeah, and we can just put it into a couple of nice rooms for training, for coming
A few
together,
nice chairs.
and
Yeah.
and yeah, for example, and just giving this a better chance of people. For example, if you don't have much money in Germany, it can be quite hard to have a decent rig for playing games or to have a sufficient mouse, keyboard, whatever you need to be a good player.
Mm-hmm.
And by having that localized on one of these clubs, it may be that someone who usually wouldn't have the chance to get into esports that hard because he would have had to play on a shitty media laptop with a touchpad or stuff like that.
Something rubbish. Yeah.
Well, you always can go Hearthstone Pro with that setup, but let's be honest, that is not something we all would have accomplished here. Hearthstone is a cool game, but in my opinion, it's too much random just to say that.
Too much luck.
But we can give an environment for those younger people to evolve. We can have a look on them so they don't play too much, and giving someone else to talk to, and instead of the in-game chat where you just get throw shit at yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So you can train in a different manner, more efficient. Talk to people who are better and have a consensus about what happened, what to do better, and to have a local place to come to. I feel like this is something that can take esports to the next level.
Yeah, it takes the next step. Yeah.
And maybe out of the sudden we have this connection between pro esports and this local communities.
Mm-hmm.
For example, in Berlin, they are doing a really good job. Holy Hit, for example, is a very decent Protoss player. He's called the Pink Terror.
I've never heard of him, no.
Yeah, you will.
I will now.
Soon. He's having pink hair and he's playing hell of a games sometimes. He's around.
You can't miss him.
He's around 6.1k MMR, which is already quite nice. But it's hard to maintain a good level of play when you're having to work. But
you got to work.
I see a lot of potential in the smaller clubs.
I think for all sports it's like that though. Like if it's like football or if it's rugby here as well, it's like they have these even from a really young age they have these groups from 6 years old, some of them, and they'll have like a local team attached to it. So like give me Scotland's national team or whatever, and it's like, oh, I'm playing for the really, really young version of Scotland. That sort of encourages them to keep playing football all the way up to like an older age. But it's sort of gaming start missing that element. Like people will just game in their, don't get me wrong, they'll game in their house with their friends, but if they could sit and play with like a gaming association or like an actual computer club that's tied to like say Team Liquid or something like that, I feel like that would almost prompt them more. I don't know if kids need more encouragement, to be honest, because I think every kid plays games anyway, it feels like. But yeah, I feel like that's maybe like an element to turning it into like a professional sport, or that's maybe missing,
Yeah, I'm totally on your side on that point. but it's a different story in every country, I feel like.
I just googled there. Sorry, because I remember because like when you mentioned
how dare you to Google that?
It was no, it was just the Olympics there you were mentioning, because I was like, there's someone was talking about the Tokyo Olympics. They were talking about putting esports into the Olympics, but I can't really find a straight answer because everyone's talking about it potentially being dismissed because of coronavirus. I never even thought of that really. So I'm not even sure if the esports got through, because I remember about 2 years ago or maybe a year ago it was brought up that I think there was a few Japanese ministers that were saying esports should be in the Olympics, but I don't know if it actually is or not. Oh well.
Wasn't there a case on the Asian Games where they just said, okay, we take League of Legends within it? I don't know.
Oh, I don't know. Oh well, I'll guess we'll wait and see if it actually happens.
Maybe I just making that up in my mind. But,
just nothing but facts here, BelAir.
Yeah. You know what's good about esports in some certain parts? We have those games like FIFA, for example. They are they can make way for the rest of those real esports games, in my opinion. We're just not adapting a sports which is electronized, or how to call it.
Just electronic games.
Because it's a simple game. people know football, people can be attached to FIFA. It's like, all
Mhm.
right, and it's a good game to get a footstep into the door to say, okay, this is esports, but this is esports as well.
Yeah.
And since people are more likely to like those games, there is maybe a chance to even get the older versions of us into
Into
esports, or
esports,
at
yeah.
least onto a stage where you feel like, okay, we accept it. I don't like it, but I accept it,
Yeah.
and this is all we can be wishing for. So for me, it's always a fight. Like I like my streaming. I like those games. Even if I play myself or I cast, it doesn't matter. I just like this environment and
Mhm.
the art of the people reacting to it. But it's hard to explain that to an outsider.
It just doesn't get it, yeah.
Yeah, it's how can you watch someone playing the game for 5 hours straight?
Yeah.
That is so boring.
I think that was more than me playing games. Like I feel like I just bashed my parents here, but when I was younger, it was like I couldn't spend. I was like limited to how much time I could spend in front of the computer. Until I obviously was a grown ass man and I could spend every hour in front of the computer. But yeah, I don't know. It just feels like when I said, "Oh, I watched someone play games," that was absolutely bonkers to like my parents or people who were older. That you're sitting watching somebody play games, and I'm like, but you don't understand. The guy I'm watching right now is literally the best in the world at what he does. This is literally like, again, me. I keep using Ronaldo as a reference, but like this is like me watching Ronaldo playing football and doing some crazy stuff in the training grounds. You can't see this.
And the best thing about it is when he makes a pause, you can ask him, "Hey Ronaldo, how did you do this trick? Did you do
Yeah.
it yourself? Can you do that again, please?"
And then you can just chuck like £2 at him, or like
Yeah.
or €3. Here you go. But yeah, it's hard for them to understand that. Again, it's just I know I understand why they find it difficult, but it's I don't know. I feel like no matter how much I chat about games, or even the fact that I do like a game related podcast, and some of the folk I'll interview, I'm like trying to explain this is their full time job. It just doesn't seem to sink in.
Yeah. It's the thing is, it's not just gaming. It's you have to. We already had that. You have to be efficient in the game. You have to manage your misclicks to actually be zero. You have to be in shape, especially on your constitution, because the long tournament day of 8 hours, you need to be on
It's a
point.
lot.
You have to be fit. It's something compared to like a race driver. You have to. I mean, there are not that many professional players in any esports that are really obese. For example, there are some
No.
exceptions because the one I know is ill. For example, there is no way he can lose weight on an efficient, easy way. And
Yeah.
most of those guys, okay, most of Koreans, I don't know if they ever have fat anyways, but
Yeah, I know.
it is. You cannot even say those words you heard
Yeah,
like
you,
in the
you literally
midnight.
can't turn on GSL and see someone overweight. But I mean, most of those pro teams now have like fitness like ground into their contracts, isn't it? So like they have to work out X amount of times a year, and I mean, it makes sense though. Like it all comes down to like mental health, doesn't it? Like if you're actually looking after your body, your brain's obviously going to be happy too, right? So it just makes sense.
It is just the way you react to input. Like, for example, you lose a game. You have to have the mindset of a hero to say, forget that game. I'm looking forward to the next. If you let that map kill your mindset, you ain't going to win.
Yeah,
Because
exactly.
You go in with a humble and out of a sudden you lose the second map, and then you're really forced into the limbo. And this is something and this might be the hardest part for pro players to avoid. Like if you're facing someone that you couldn't beat right away, you got caught off guard and you felt like totally outplayed. You have to stick to what you're trained. You have to stick to yourself and probably have to make a bold move or stuff like that. But don't let it go onto your nerves. Stay calm and this might be the hardest thing in pro esports. Like among every games, stay calm in those situations, make yourself comfortable even though it's not comfortable, and think about the next seconds. How can I win this?
Yeah, I think it's very easy. I mean, that must come down to making and breaking so many players, is the fact that they can take themselves out of like a tilt or like some kind of downside to games. But again, not looking after yourself, not eating right, these things all surely are like contributing factors to making you a better gamer or not, you know? So what about yourself? What do you do to keep fit? Have you, I mean, like you said, you were in like military service in the past and stuff. That must at least got some discipline in you in the back in the day, no?
Yeah, it did. Well, basically, I got to the military because I was homeless 2 years earlier, and that was the only company not caring where I come from. So I got to the military. I was part of the German Armed Forces on the how to tell it. I was an airborne ranger for the first 2 years. So
Cool.
Being fit was our butter and bread, actually. And after I left the military service, was like, I gained some weight and stuff like that. And just recently, like half year ago, I was addicted to Pokemon Go again. And
Pokemon Go. Oh,
yeah,
Nintendo keeping us fit. It's brilliant, isn't it?
you're just moving it around, and you're pointing it out. Well, Nintendo, it's from Niantic. That's not really fun, Nintendo.
Oh yeah,
But
well, yeah.
what do we care? But
Nah.
Nintendo is involved in my fitness as well, because the time when I'm not playing Pokemon Go, I really like Switch Ring Fit Adventure. And please don't blame me, guys. I just like the concept. It is kind of fun to bash around on yoga mats and kettlebells, but by doing sit-ups and stuff. Like, it is, like, if you watch it from the outside, it must be so boring. Actually, I promised to my subscribers that I will do a stream playing that.
It's funny because I notice there's like
I must have been drunk that moment. I don't know.
there's like a section on Twitch. It's like sports and fitness. I remember I click on it before, and it's like I don't know. I'm not gonna say it's just because they're female, but you will literally see like if I go into it, there'll be like one or two people that are like super fit, but you'll get like women that'll be playing, like you say, like the not Wii Sports. Like, I don't know what it's called on Switch, but like their equivalent that's on Switch. They'll be playing this and they'll have thousands of viewers, and you'll see a guy doing the same game and it's got like 2 people watching him. I'm like, I see what's happening here. I mean, it must be so difficult to actually like break into that space if nobody knows you. Like, you're not really playing a well-known game, so like it's gonna be so difficult for people to come across you,
There are certain parts that determine how efficient, how big you can become as a streamer, as a person, as, let's call it, an influencer.
Yeah.
Which is a term made up by people who didn't know what a streamer is, so they did throw it all into the same bucket. Like, oh, you do videos, you're an influencer.
You're an influencer, yeah, that's it.
Well, you have Twitter, you're an influencer. Oh, you're modeling on Instagram, you're an influencer.
That word gets thrown around constantly, man. Yeah.
Yeah. Thing is, the more you are around, the higher the chances people see you. That means the more content you spread among more platforms, the higher your chances get of being actually seen as what you are.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And for example, I focused on live content the last 3 years. I'm actually trying to revive my YouTube channel right now.
Cool.
And because it's just the missing part, YouTube in the end has the bigger economy itself, and you could basically drain people off YouTube to Twitch, not the other way around usually.
Yeah, it's quite difficult to do all the way around.
But it isn't a bigger audience because YouTube was there when Twitch was still in the kinder shoes.
Yeah, pretty much. Justin TV.
But it usually takes a lot of effort. Like,
Twitch also still has like a nerdy. Well, it is nerdy. I can't really say it, but I mean, I know it's like growing to people who aren't massively nerdy, but it still has that stigmatism attached to it. I think that YouTube doesn't.
26% of the content on Twitch is esports.
Yeah, it's not quite. I mean, it's not that much, really, when you think about it.
It's well, with new categories like just chatting and stuff like
Like
that.
poker and stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it changed a little bit, but it's still where Twitch came from, and I like the platform for the engagement, for the easy engagement, and you know, it's a little bit hard to live on it, to be honest, because they're taking a decent share of what you're actually earning.
Yeah.
But I feel like it's a good platform. The biggest problem for someone to start out on Twitch, for example, is how do you get people to watch exactly your channel? How do you get out of
Yeah.
that
What's different?
swamp of 20 plus viewers, which I get caught in when I'm doing Let's Plays myself as well. When I'm not showing StarCraft 2, I'm the little guy. So, but it's still fun because there's a core community still watching and having fun with me, like slaying dragons on Skyrim.
Yeah.
It's fun. But it's hard to grow on that, to be honest. But the biggest thing for people start streaming, I get asked questions about that a lot.
Yeah. How'd you start?
Yeah, how do you start? You have to have an idea that is different from the others. My idea was to cast replays of anybody, any league. It just has to be a half decent match, and people like them. But
Yes.
but you have to have an idea that is kind of
Slightly
outstanding. You can not just sit there and be like,
I'm playing this game. Derp.
I'm playing this game. Until you're very good, that's not going to work.
Yeah. I think if you're not like godlike at a game, because people will just watch like some people that have no personality, but they are just incredible at the game. Whereas you get people who have both, you know, they just have amazing personalities and they're good. You're like, wow, this guy's great as a streamer.
for example, Loco, he's good, and
yeah,
the game he's playing, and he's such a handsome Dutchman. Sometimes I wish to be. No, I'm not saying that sentence. No, it is. You can be good at streaming, but you're still an asshole, probably.
Yeah, you can.
It is hard to comprehend, like, but sometimes you are lucky. You get in touch with the bigger boys of the scene, or you have this thing going and it's blowing up from one second to the other. Like I was always sometimes thinking about, man, if you would have been casting Dota 2 for the same amount of time of StarCraft 2, and it's just like the audience is like 10 times bigger.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just a bit. It's just that makes it that much easier, isn't it? I mean,
yeah. And I've been among a lot of teams. I casted Dota. I even casted League of Legends. Like abolished that quite fast again. But
I think that's also makes it easier if you're like a variety streamer. It seems quite a lot harder, to grow, because it's like the community. You like try to tap into like 7 different communities consistently all the time. So I feel like you'll maybe get like 2 or 3 diehards, and that's it. You know.
They hate on each other usually.
Yeah, exactly. Like, communities don't go on.
Yeah. Well, for example, for me, I like casting in German. It's really something I'm fluent on. It's something that I drop like stupid lines, which people find funny sometimes. Which sometimes
is there a lot of German streamers?
On
like actually speak German. Like I mean, because you see quite a few German streamers that will switch between English and German. But I don't think I've ever seen someone that's like a strictly German speaking stream, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that might be that might be because you're not German.
Well, that too. I'm not looking for it, I suppose.
Yeah. We don't have that many StarCraft 2 streams that are German that are really regularly on content.
Okay.
It is for most. It's like, hey, I'm doing ladder right now. I'm the platinum guy laddering. Come say hi, step by. Listen to some fun music. They are really good streamers, but they are not really that often like doing their stuff, and that makes it hard for them to grow. For example,
must be quite hard to grow if you're like a specific language only as well, because you're sort of limiting your market a little bit, aren't you?
Yes, it is, but I thought about switching to English, for example, as well for a couple of times, and I'm always asking my community. I mean, I usually did do that after I got a huge host. Sometimes.
Oh yeah.
Rotterdam is a nice guy and
he hosts you. Good lad.
Or or here Marine gets mad and sends 700 people over. And even Waddy did that once because his internet was just like not there.
Mm-hmm.
We were casting the same tournament, so there's a lot of love going on StarCraft 2.
Yeah, man,
between
that's
the
cool.
streamers.
I've got a lot of time for that.
And I really like that. But there's a certain point where I feel like, damn, so many. My core community is German, and I
Mm-hmm.
don't want to abolish them, so I'm not going to cast English. But in that moment, I'm opening a poll, guys. If you want to have an English cast,
There you go.
and usually my Germans are stronger, so it got really close last time. It was like 50-50, and people advised me, hey, go change every second word to the other language. I was like, I was really trying for half a minute, but dude, that is not doable. It is really a thing with the reach of the game, of what you're doing. The good thing about growing into esports as a caster, you have those tournaments. The players might tune in after they lost. The fans of the players might tune in because they want to see their specific player. This is something that can help you grow, or being on a team, and all you guys know, hey, BelAir streaming our clan war again. Go, Bremen! Kill those guys! Make it!
I think a lot of it's like as well to do with like who's potentially on that's doing the same or something similar to you. Like I noticed like a couple streamers all finish as I'm halfway through my stream, and a couple people seem to just come in from there, sort of thing. So it's all dependent on, like, I'll obviously try and stream as much as possible, but yeah, it's very much like, oh, is he streaming? No. Oh, I've got more viewers, that's why. Okay, right, that makes sense, you know. But yeah, it makes sense.
But if you that's why I say it's rather easy to get bigger in esports if you're showing the correct tournaments, if you're really making what your community likes it to do.
You get
and this is the first step, like having a core community to work with, to ask, hey guys, what would you like besides the content I'm already doing? What would you like to see? Would you like to have a special stream when I'm finally hitting 5,000 followers? Would you like to have me trying out a game you like? I don't know. This is something you can just do when you have a certain growth actually reached. Problem if you're just gaming for yourself, I mean, you have to give the people a reason. Why shall they watch you?
Yeah, what's different from them just playing games themselves, you know?
And some people are just like, hey, can you just host me? And I'm like, dude, no face cam, no mic.
Yeah.
What is your idea of streaming? I really like to help. There was this guy, I was like texting with him like 3 days, and in the end he just asked, can you just host me? And I was like, okay. Sorry, I worked my ass off like the last 6 years to be okay with a little pause of 1.5 years, but I am walking my shoes wound to make this happening.
Yeah.
And you're asking me to just like give it to you for no reason, and that's the thing. It's like one host will not make you famous.
No, I've had a few decent hosts where I think the biggest one was Caldor, and that was like, I think he had like 900 people watching, and I was like, oh crap. And again, it's quite a big jump from what I normally do, but I think I got like 4 or 5 maybe more concurrent viewers from it. And obviously I'm grateful for the fact that he did it alone. I mean, I don't really ask for hosts, so if people are kind enough to do it, I'm always grateful. But I mean, that's incredible to me. I'm just like, well, that's 4 more people that are sitting listening to my shite. You know, that's brilliant. So
the good thing about that is you have that moment to actually convince a bigger audience of your skill, of your type of stream, of yourself, of your personality, for the people to come back, and that is important.
I think so.
But if you're starting streaming, it's hard to actually. Well, where do you get the people that shall watch you? I always advise the people who started streaming, okay, for the start, just play together with your mates maybe, and let them have the stream on the sidebar, and you have 6 viewers or something. That is good. It gets you slowly out of the swamp. The higher your number is, the higher is your chance to actually get onto new get into other people enjoying your stream.
Well, one of the best ones, bits of advice I remember was actually Tim the Tap Man. I used to watch him. I actually used to stream. I think he still does probably. Is Fortnite all the time, and I'm not a massive fan of Fortnite, but I would actually just watch him because he was cool. Like I hated Fortnite, didn't even like watching it really, but again, just him was good. So probably which makes him such a good streamer. But one of the things he said when, again, he gets asked that all the time, like, you know, what makes you a good streamer? How can you become a good streamer? And he says, like, he can remember, like, the first, like, 10 people that used to come into a stream for, like, a month straight. There should be the same 10 people or, like, 8 people. And he says you basically have to chat to them like they're your best friends consistently, like, you know, you were chatting to them and interacting all the time. If you're that streamer that's just sitting there playing games and just going, oh, hey, man, and that's it, they're not going to come back. And I was just sort of like, that makes sense. And legit, like, it's the same people that come back, you're chatting and you're genuinely taking an interest in, like, what they're doing. It definitely makes a massive difference, I think. If you're wanting to grow, you've got to be genuine, you know?
It's about a conversation. It's like having a relationship with every viewer coming onto your stream. And I've known a lot of my viewers for a couple of years now. Sadly, I'm getting the names mixed up right now, and
I'm
I
so
cannot
bad
really
for that.
remember.
Oh my god! Yeah.
I cannot really remember who was. Like, I know there are one or two guys having shift work, and they drop into late night streams and have to say, "Hey, I'm going to work," and I'm like, "Oh shit, you are that guy, right?" But it's everyone that checks out your stream. I mean, it is either you convince him by your personality, by interacting with him. Sometimes it's just not working out. I mean, I rather have a smaller community, but like
a tighter community. Yeah, definitely.
Than people like, hey, play that, and I'm
just like, no, I don't want to. Yeah,
you're not helping me. The more you're giving into the people, like doing the stuff they like, probably laughing at their jokes as well. And dude, I can tell you, some people on my chat, I wish to be as creative as they are with word puns and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
but the more both sides invest into each other, the more you get attached to each other. It's like throwing a rope to each other, and with each rope you throw, your connection just gets bigger. And this is something that is really strengthening the community.
Like, I do feel like when I'm streaming, I'm quite a chatty dude, but then you compare yourself to some other streamer who's like how they can be so like charismatic all the time. And
how can you be so handsome as one person?
It's just like, what? Yeah, it's just that's why it's all the views. I'm just too ugly, man. I need to get some better looks, you know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man.
Grow a beard, that helps.
Oh man, I can't. That's it. It takes me like I could sit not shave for 2 months and I have like 3 hairs on my face, dude.
we all started somewhere. Paint it on.
Like, that's what I need to do. I just need to get one of those like Snapchat like filters. Like, go over it. Just give me a beard.
Oh yeah. Oh my god, I have this meme channel, and once somebody screenshotted like the stream and run it through this Snapchat filter where you change your sex. They just damn, I look hot as a female.
Yeah, man, the old man one really creeped me out. I think it was, what was the app called again? I can't remember now. Was it Face App maybe? I can't remember. It was like trending for a while.
Face App, that was it.
That's it, yeah. And Jesus, that honestly, that still creeps me the crap out. Like, I just look at that picture and I'm like, man, that's what I'm gonna look like when I'm. Oh man, that's terrifying, man. So yeah,
mate. Can I tell you about the strangest thing I do on my stream?
Yeah, go for it, man. Go for it.
Okay. Do you sit? I hope so.
Yes.
For every first sub of a person in the chat, like if Rambo66 is coming into my chat like for the first time,
okay,
he decides to subscribe, I'm writing his name with an adding on duct tape, on silver duct tape at the moment. And
I'm worried where this is going, man.
And the stripe is going onto my big ball of tape.
Oh, right, okay.
It started out with me in the middle, like with nobody around it, and when the first people started subbing, it started growing actually, and it's just for the first subs for a reason, because otherwise that thing would be too
Just
big
absolutely
to
massive,
move.
yeah.
Yeah. And at the moment, I'm about to hit 1.5 kilograms.
Oh, nice. Have you ever put it on Twitter to see what it looks like?
There are a couple of memes, and I have it on my Instagram account.
That's a really clever idea, man. I've never seen that. That's good.
What I like about this idea, like a number of subs, for example, it's just the number on the website. It's electronic. You cannot. I can touch my subs. I know they don't like it, but it's not. It's
oh, that sounds so wrong. Yeah, I get, I get you, man.
but it is nice to have a physical body embodiment of something that is online.
Yeah, that's really cool, man. I like that.
And I can raise my community. I can throw my community.
I can throw my community. Yeah, you need to tweet that, man. I want to see that, dude.
I will.
Cool.
I will do right after we finished.
Cool.
I promised. Yeah, you know what? I have 2 goals with that big ball of duct tape.
Okay.
Either there will be a burglar in my room, in my flat, and he will be knocked the fuck out with that thing, or the NASA wants it to shoot aliens out of the sky.
Oh, either. That's 2 good reasons. Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, probably. I mean, I'd be happy with one of those. Aliens might be more creepy, but
okay, so
it's a fun thing to have to actually, because the people admire it.
I mean, having all the unique things like that is definitely like what makes the difference between some streamers, I think. So that's pretty cool. What was I about to say there, BelAir, right? So normally what we do, again, I've done it with, sorry, 2 seconds, get them up. Here we go. So with everybody else I've had on the stream, we do like a quick fire question round, they call it. So it's basically...
we made it that as well when I was at Esport Talk. I know.
Oh, did you actually? Oh, okay, you're good, man.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I say, there was a few people I did this with, and they were answering the questions really quick, so you can literally take your time to answer them. Okay, so like I'm going from one question to the next. You don't have to go yes, no, yes. You can actually answer them.
Do I have to explain my answer afterwards?
You can if you want to. It's up to you. If you want to elaborate, you can.
Okay.
But some are pretty good. I mean, it's some of the answers I've gotten from people are quite hilarious, and also.
If those are not good, I'm going to ask you a question.
Oh, that's fine, man. I'll be first, but yeah.
how the tides have turned.
I know.
I'm the host now.
It's funny because again, I'll give my community the opportunity to ask like you or whoever else I have on like questions too. So like some of them are not from me. So okay, so right, you ready?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so first one is what's the worst video game you've ever played?
Oh wait, give me a second.
I should stop asking this one first, because people always go, "Oh, wait a minute, I know what it's called, but I can't remember because it was like 15 years ago."
Like, what was the game I was playing the shortest amount of time? I think like I have to switch around because I played bad games for very long. I played Last Cars and paid like 2k euros into this game before I followed it.
Wow.
And yeah, I was dedicated. To be honest, I'd say Fortnite. I suck at shooters, and I was dying my way like 2 hours. I was like, no, that's not game for me.
Okay, Fortnite. Who's your favorite streamer?
Hard to tell.
You can't say yourself.
No. Damn it! Get out of my head. No, there are really a lot of people that I admire a lot. It is
too many.
I'd say Loco.
Loco, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Loco. He's good.
Just because he's doesn't matter what he touches. It's fun to watch his streams.
Yeah, it's
cool. But the best streams I've seen are from Take, Dennis Galen.
Ah, okay, cool. That's good.
But sadly, he's not appearing on stream anymore. He's just letting Naruto doing all the work.
Do all the work.
Yeah.
Who was your favorite caster to work with?
My favorite caster to work with?
Mm-hmm.
Oh wow. I think I'm not ready for this. Just to point that out. I'm unworthy. Man, I it would be either Rotterdam or Artosis.
Okay.
It is.
What made them like better? Just easier to work with?
The thing is, Rotterdam is more like the buddy guy, I feel like, and Artosis is someone who is so far into the game. He's like
Oh,
where I used to just see a simple engagement. He just knows what the next
yeah. I
step
must
is,
admit
and
that's one thing. Like, again, I think that's why I like watching Tastosis so much. It's literally like you'll just see Artosis just say something. I'm like, man, you just thought about that in like 7 different levels compared to my one. You know, like
yeah.
he killed him. Oh yeah, but he did this, and this, and this, and this back home, and then this. And you're like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
so he did. Good catch.
Oh, that was just to buy time. He now had 30 mood.
Yeah. Oh, okay, cool.
Okay, I didn't see that.
Yeah, and then he will actually say stuff like, and he was so obvious he was going mute. As I'm like, well, I'm glad you caught that because I didn't. What was your favorite subject in school?
Favorite subject in school? Free time?
Free time.
No, my favorite subject in school, it was English.
English. Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah,
That's paid
it
off.
was. No, I learned English at school, but I learned to use it on the internet. Esports
Esports is
and gaming, teaching English since the beginning of times, and better than any teacher could do.
so esports is responsible. Got it.
Yeah.
New game release that you're looking forward to. Is there
There's so
anything you're looking?
many.
There's too many.
There's so
Too many.
Too many. I'm having hope for Age of Empires 4. I'm having hope on the remake of Command and Conquer.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to Steampunk 77.
I think Cyberpunk is probably my
Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
Let's call it Steampunk.
Steampunk.
Just put some gears on it and call it Steampunk.
That's like that. I'd probably Steampunk or Command and Conquer. I think it's good, man. Like
Yeah.
after watching that trailer, it was released today. It got me so hyped, man. I'm good to go. What's next?
Sorry for naming free. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, that's cheating.
I'm a
cheating.
person. I cannot never decide when I'm sitting in a restaurant and thinking like, okay, what to eat.
Bad decision maker. Literally the worst trait in any StarCraft player. Not being able to make a decision. Should I defend? Should I attack? I'll just die. All right, okay.
Good thing is I'm caster, and whenever they have multiple matchup to show, I just ask the community, and I'm not responsible for what's happening.
This is your fault. Okay, so what's your favorite StarCraft unit?
My favorite StarCraft unit.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a Protoss player, but I love Disruptors.
Disruptors? Oh man, you're evil. Jeez.
Disruptors made Showtime advancing into the round of 24 for Interaction Masters. And I just love this moment when the Purification Nova is released and you go like, oh, is it about to hit? Really good, really good. Oh, nothing. Oh, wow. Well done. Amazing micro. It's like whenever there's a Disruptor shop, you always have tension.
Oh
and
yeah.
I like that as a caster. It's either like the micro nuke exploding in the enemy units and putting the whole turnaround on the table, or there's just happening nothing, and you in the end you tell, oh, she should have better gone Colossus because those things deal their damage straight up.
There's the few things that are I would say that give you that feeling. Is same as with like your. If it's any Zerg player and they're getting chased, any Terran player and their Marines are getting chased down by Banelings, or they're a way to walk over like a Baneling mine or something, and you're just like, oh, it's the same feeling where you're just like, is he gonna? Oh yeah.
Yeah, and everybody just thinks, did he just came?
Is this StarCraft or is this sex? I don't know. Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't watch the video. I just had audio on.
So wait, what race do you play then?
I started out as a Terran, and that is still the race. I would say
You're best at.
I'm the least worst with.
Least worst. That's the best way to word it. Yeah, I'm the same. I'm probably the least worst with Zerg. I think so. I was like, wait,
Yeah.
I can build all my workers at once, and then all my supply at once. This is great.
Once we get a hang on it, I feel like Zerg is pretty easy for beginners.
For beginners, yeah. People think it's the hardest, and I think it's the complete opposite.
Yeah.
So I just don't tell people. I tell people it's the hardest, you know.
Just to mention it, I got diamond free with random. I don't
Did
know
you
if
actually?
that's an
Oh, well,
achievement.
that's pretty good, man. That's pretty good.
Well, I
It
got
depends when you
I
did it, though. It depends when you did it.
I last season.
Okay.
Thing is, I got zerked 10 times, and I just did go for Ling Roach rushes, and it worked. So there was not much macro going on.
So
I
you're
was
that
like,
guy on the ladder. I got it. Okay.
no. That was when I actually did start getting into those other factions a little bit, and it was just like, hey, oh come on, let's try. I was facing Diamond Terran, and I was like, oh shit. Cannot be that guy in a macro game because my macro sucks. I know that. So I'm making my weakness my strength. Playing strategies where you don't need to macro. Bam.
Boom. Boom. Most embarrassing casting moment. Too many.
No. Wait a minute.
Which one do I choose?
Actually, there was a moment. That was the first time I was invited to Tech TV to cast.
Oh, okay.
And I casted the Home Story Cup 10 Korean qualifiers together with Silvano Naruto on the couch. It was legendary. But it was kind of this moment, and he's someone who's sometimes trying to get you out of your cage just to make you look stupid. Not really, but he likes to catch people off guard, and so he was asking, how many oracles do you need to one-shot the corruptor? And I was like, and I was really thinking for a second, and he got me on that one. I was like, dude, they cannot shoot. And he just looked at me, yes, but you thought about it.
That's quite good. See, I think that's the kind of like jokes I think would go well if I casted. I need somebody like that. If someone was really serious, I'd just be like, yeah, I don't think I'd go on with that. I think I'd struggle.
If you're super serious in esports, dude, it's a wrong business for you.
I don't think I can manage with that. Yeah. What's your favorite fast food?
Burgers.
Burgers? Just any burger?
No, good burgers. We have this place here called a French Connection, and they make burgers you would die for, actually. And they
all right, I'm googling it. French Connection burgers.
They have they actually deliver, and they deliver crepes as well.
Oh my god, that looks absolutely filthy. Jesus, that looks fine. that's like just a big burger of grease. That looks great.
Yeah, with like 4 different cheeses, with eggs, with whatever you can imagine.
Oh, brilliant! I like it.
I don't know if they serve in Scotland, so
no. We have like a habit here of like deep frying things. So like
Snickers,
like deep frying Mars bars, Snickers. Like beside my school when I was a kid.
I never tried that.
They actually had this thing where you could take any sweet you want and they'll deep fry it for you. So you know cream eggs?
Yes.
Yeah, I used to take cream eggs and they would deep fry this cream egg and you would eat it, and oh my god, it's just, you can hear your arteries like crying when you eat it. It's that bad, you know. But it's so good, man. It's good.
A doctor close to your location is like, oh, a big disturbance.
yeah, it's exactly what it's like, man. Like they do like battered pizza, things like that. These are all like, well, that's why I say this is the worst food you can probably get in Scotland. So we have our fair share of like horrendous fast food, to be honest.
When do we have time so I can meet up with you? So I really need to.
Oh, say it again, dude. Sorry, your voice cut out there. Say it again, dude.
When do you have time so I can come over and we go into a good restaurants and?
Oh, Scotland, yeah, man. The issue is you can't really go out to eat here without having a drink. I think that's like Scottish culture. So.
Right. So the experience within the restaurants is not that bad if you're already.
Basically, yeah, the food's average, and then when you start drinking, the food tastes amazing. So like you're like, oh my god, everywhere in Scotland is great for food. In reality, it's all average, but you're just drunk all the time.
You should be a trip advisor.
I should. I know. I'm in the wrong job, I think, man. And then during the day, I can show you all the nice castles and stuff, and that's it. That's all Scotland's got: castles and drink and bad food.
Can I bring my armor?
Oh yeah, it's fine, man. I mean, you'll fit in.
All right, all right.
That sounds good. Okay, so finally, BelAir, if you're up for it, what I normally do is just to try and give something back to the community and people listening a little bit. If there's someone that's trying to pursue something similar to what you're trying to do with casting or streaming, is there anything you've learned or maybe something that you wish you knew when you were trying to pursue what you're doing that you wish you knew, or would advise other people to do if they're wanting to do the same thing?
Mm, for me, it was a huge problem because and there's a certain fact where I was thinking I could have esports and a normal relationship. I found out 2 years ago that that is not going to work. What I'm actually,
Sucks, dude.
yeah, what I would have liked to advise myself, like 3.5 years ago, dude, do esports. Forget about that girl. She's
Mhm.
just playing with your fields and forcing you doing stuff you don't like. Um, if you want to do something, be real, be yourself, and go for it. And if you're asking the legendary Artosis for help or stuff like that, just do it. If you don't ask, there's no chance
Yeah, you
you
don't get
actually make it.
that's actually one thing that I would say is huge for me, especially because I mean I've loved streaming. I love just chatting games, man. Like I love it. So I was just like, why don't I just start messaging people? And I was surprised with how much people actually reply to you. I think people talk themselves out of it, if that makes sense. They just think that this person's going to say no, this person's not going to reply. I can't handle like the rejection or whatever is in their head. But honestly, like just trying to get a hold of people in especially the gaming space, I think it's maybe just because it's a really good community. I don't know, or majority of the time. Um, yeah, I was just shocked by how much people were just like, "Yo, yeah, cool, I'm up for it, man." I'm like, "Are you sure?" So I think like yeah, just asking is some solid advice, dude. That's good. Well, I think that's most of the questions and stuff I had, dude. So yeah, thanks for being on the show, dude. Appreciate you taking some time out your schedule to speak some nerdy stuff with us.
Oh, well, it was my day off anyway, so.
Otherwise, you would told me to fuck off.
But no. I wouldn't be that guy. I would just ghost you, Cup.
So,
No, I really enjoyed it, and
so basically, you can ask anyone, but just don't ask BelAir because he will ghost you.
yeah. No, I won't. I hope the people liked it, and if there are further questions, just put them anywhere. Like Twitter is an open door for
Well, go for it.
everybody.
You can say your handles and stuff just now if you want to. Like, where can people find you and stuff? I'll link them in the description and on the podcast on YouTube and stuff. But if people want to find your stream, look at your YouTube videos you're going to be making, where can they find you?
Yeah, the easiest thing to find me is on my Twitch channel, BelAir StarCraft. It's just like BelAir, like Prince of BelAir with StarCraft attached to it.
Is that where your name comes from? Actually, I forgot to ask you that.
No, apparently not. Below under the stream, I linked everything. You can reach out to anything like that. You can check out my team, Bremen Esports. You can check out Twitter, anything. And for now, I give you a small little story about my nickname.
Okay, cool.
I was into Gothic 3.
Okay.
Which is that RPG, and
I think I remember that.
I was a servant of BelAir.
I'm gonna type this in Google just to make sure.
Or BelAir, and this is something hard to pronounce in English, but that was my first name when I got into Trackmania, and let's be honest, no English person is able to pronounce BelAir properly.
Probably
it's
not.
Always BelAir, which would be funny for StarCraft 2, because that's the tier 2 building for Zerg.
Yeah.
Or it was BelAir, stuff like that, and people just messed around with it, and like after casting 2 years of StarCraft 2, I kind of switched around that name. First on YouTube, I was naming myself still BelAir, but when I switched over to Twitch, I said like, dude, that's not good. Like,
That's not good.
Change it now. And actually, some people that, for example, the Americans, when I first got into their channel and I seen like this partnership badge, and it's like, hey, who are you? Prince of BelAir? And then I see that I'm a white douche. They're like, oh my.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Well, when I saw your name originally, I 100% was like, all right, this I fuck with this dude. He likes Fresh Prince. He's cool. So I was like, that's what it is.
I'm a huge fan of Will Smith, to be honest,
That's cool.
and I loved the show back then. But that was not the intention when I was making up.
Thanks for listening, guys. If you enjoyed the podcast, please like and subscribe. It really helps me and the channel out a lot. And it also keeps you up to date with all the new guests too. Cheers. See you.